Let's dive straight into it. Freshman Flowers, a new segment that we are really, really excited about. We'll be talking about the best freshmen from week to week in the country, and we are going to be presenting them their flowers, as the kids like to call it. And Drew, let's start with the guy that was the top of everybody's mind over the weekend, DJ Lagway at Florida. What a performance here, Drew. 59 snaps, 18 to 25, completed 72% of his passing attempts for 456 yards. He had 3 touchdowns through the air. He rushed 5 times for only 16 yards. But Drew, an explosive performance, 9 plays over 15 plus yards or more, 77 yards, 44 yards, 40 yards, 22, 22, 36, 41, 24, 85. When is the last time you thought about a Florida offense and really kind of attached that type of dynamic, explosive playmaking ability to it? Drew, I thought he was everything and more in his freshman debut against Samford. The Gators pick up the win 45-7. Billy Napier comes out this morning, and it sounds like Graham Mertz going to get cleared from concussion protocol. Mertz more than likely going to be the guy, but Lagway's still going to be a factor in Florida's offense. Drew, I thought he played well enough given the circumstances in Billy Napier year 3. His seat obviously getting hotter and hotter by the week as they get into SEC play. You got Texas A&M coming to town. I'm kind of behind, like, just letting DJ Lagway go and kind of seeing this play out over the rest of the season. That's not going to be the case. But what'd you like from DJ Lagway in week 2 of the season, Drew?
Coop, I love the deep ball. I felt like all of last week I talked about DJ Lagway. I mean, he was our #1 ranked quarterback in the 2024 cycle. And it's funny, right? A lot of media, a lot of fans, they know the name, right? They know the number, they know the ranking, but I don't think they know DJ Lagway, the player, what he brings to the table. You look at him, he's 6'3", 240 pounds, right? So you think dual threat type of talent. And I kept trying to caution everyone, hey, no, this guy can air it out. He's got the deep ball. And we saw that right away Saturday night in the Swamp. I texted you that first 77-yard pass where he kind of rolled to the right and just aired it out. Cooper, we saw that at the Elite 11 finals heading into his senior season. It was the exact same throw. So he's the total package to me. I think he's ahead of schedule. I didn't think he would be here, first year on campus. And I know it's an inferior opponent, but he's exciting. And I think his ability to move in the pocket is what stands out. You brought it up, Billy Napier, likely going to go back to Graham Mertz. But how do you not play DJ Lagway this upcoming Saturday when Texas A&M comes into town? Because what's the strength of the Aggies? It's that front seven. They get after the quarterback. What's the weakness for the Gators? It's those offensive tackles. So we'll see Mertz, but I fully expect DJ Lagway to play. This was the Gatorade Player of the Year last year in high school, 75 total touchdowns. He looked the part, Cooper. I don't think he could have done any better than that. That's like going out and carding a 62, right? Like, what else do you want him to do? He was excellent.
Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Central Florida, Tennessee. That's the next 4 games on Florida's schedule. It's going to be interesting, obviously, coming off the type of performance that DJ Lagway had this past week against Samford. Maybe the Florida faithful get a little bit restless. We'll see what happens with Graham Mertz. Drew, I'm going to flip it over to you. Cam Fountain, USC, they got something cooking on that defensive side of the football.
Yeah, Coop. Well, you got to pick your 3 freshmen first, so I was left with the scraps. But I was digging through the Pro Football Focus, and late Saturday night, I had some eyes on this USC game. You didn't see Cameron Fountain till late, but he flashed 12 snaps. This is a big-framed edge rusher out of Georgia. Cooper, me and you continue to critique USC for trying to recruit the Peach State. We consistently see them go in for these 5- and 4-star prospects. Well, heck, they finally got one, and he looks like the real deal. Cam Fountain, credited with the pressure. I think the biggest thing that stood out about him, Cooper, is how much weight he has been able to put on. Lincoln Riley and the Trojans all offseason this past August, bringing up the fact that they've added 1,400 pounds of muscle. You kind of think that's coach speak, but week 1, when they took on LSU, it looked like a bigger, faster, stronger, more physical team. Cameron Fountain, one of those guys that they must have just been pumping protein in. We had him at 241 pounds, I think, at the All-American Bowl there in January, listed at 265 pounds. I think he's a guy that as the season progresses for them in the Big Ten, he's only going to get more snaps. That's because USC doesn't really have an option like him, a young, budding pass rusher. I think you'd use him kind of as a situational rusher. Really, really liked what I saw in those 12 snaps. Not only the length, his ability to plant, redirect, get after the quarterback. USC is going to need Cam Fountain. And I think it's kind of a glimpse, a glowing hope for them to continue to recruit SEC country.
Yeah, credit to Lincoln Riley and his staff and the hire of Deanton Lynn, their new defensive coordinator, what they've been able to do this year. Far cry, very different than one of the worst defenses in all of college football last year. Drew, staying in the Big Ten, I know that sounds crazy to say out loud, but Nick Marsh, something about these 17-year-old receivers. Nick Marsh out of Michigan State, talk about a game, 8 receptions, 194 yards, 77-yard touchdown, resulting in a Michigan State victory against Maryland. He averaged over 24 yards per catch. He will turn 18 on October 1st of this year. Big road win for Sparty against Maryland and Jonathan Smith. Drew, this was a guy that we really liked in the rankings process, had him ranked just outside the top 100. Big, physical, Big Ten style receiver, 6'3", 200 pounds plus. Him and Naden Childs, when it is good, it is good. Those two hooked up a couple times on Saturday. And you think about Michigan State, their young nucleus. Both those guys you can build around for the next couple years.
Coop, I called this one. I had it in the talent tracker on CBS Sports a couple of weeks ago. I said, hey, Nick Marsh, a receiver to know if you're reading the tea leaves. He was excellent in the spring for the Spartans. You know they lost so much, left in the transfer portal. In comes Nick Marsh. Who could he be for Michigan State? How about Keon Coleman, who was at Michigan State before he went to Florida State and is now with the Buffalo Bills? You said it, big frame pass catcher. The knock on him, you were talking with some college contacts throughout the scouting process, is can he create separation at the top of his routes? Well, I hope every coach that had that question puts on the tape from this past Saturday and sees him almost get to 200 yards receiving. He won the game for Michigan State. I know Aiden Childs was great, had some turnovers. I'm excited about that duo. If you're playing college fantasy, hopefully you can stack those two because it seems like it's going to be a moneymaker there in East Lansing.
All right, Drew, North Carolina, a little banged up in the backfield of Marion Hampton, one of the best running backs in the country. He went down with an injury against Charlotte over the weekend, but a new name to know if you're a college football fan. Tell us about the bullet here out of Chapel Hill.
Yeah, and Coop, you said you read the scouting report I had on Davion Goss, and you thought it was perfect to a T. So I appreciate that. Like, this is a kid that played alongside Jeremiah Smith, the heralded freshman that someone tweeted over the weekend. Albert Beer said that Jeremiah Smith could play in the NFL right now if he wanted to as a true freshman. Crazy to think about, but Bullitt was the running back for Jeremiah Smith. I think he's the perfect short yardage back, right? Guy that doesn't go down at the first sign of contact. You said it. Marion Hampton got dinged up for North Carolina against Charlotte. In steps Davion Goss, and he goes 16 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown in that win for the Tar Heels. I think the biggest thing, 68.6% of those yards came after contact. That's according to the Pro Football Focus. Also broke or forced 4 missed tackles. Really good outing for North Carolina to get that from a true freshman running back. They got a stud. But I think if you're a Tar Heels fan, kind of some uncertainty about that offense, what's going to happen now that Max Johnson's out, Connor Harrell steps in. Hey, the run game looks to be in good shape, not only now, but I think moving forward for the Tar Heels.